Deep down at the bottom of the ocean, there sits an alien monster fish that stares straight up through its own skull to spy prey. The Barreleye. But how does it do this? By being one of the weirdest creatures alive, even for deep-sea animals. And that's saying something. But looking strange is just a fortunate side effect of being an empty-headed harbinger of jellyfish death from below here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal info. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, search Cassie Michelle on YouTube. And today we're talking about a mysterious, organic, deep-diving submarine. But more on that later.
Indeed, more on that later.
It's difficult to say, but what are we talking about today? It's a fish. It has a name, right? What is it's like I forgot to write it down, the bull...
Barreleye
fish, but that describes a lot of different species that are related to this fish. So do you have any other names that we could call it?
Yes. So it's also called the spookfish. It's a spookfish.
Okay.
But we're going to call it here Chrome Dome, Mac and Mike, which I'll explain later, and Espionagin.
I like that.
Because it's a spook. It's a CIA spook. So Espionagin. Espionage? Not?
I get it. That's good.
Okay, thanks. This is definitely a Pokemon, Espionagin. It's a psychic water type.
I was going to say psychic water or ghost water.
Ghost water is good too. So let's go through the taxonomy and then I'll explain why I called it Mac and Mike.
Okay.
Why I'm going to call it Mac and Mike for probably the remainder of this show.
Okie dokie. Let's go with the kingdom. You know it. You love it. You're in it. The kingdom Animalia. The phylum is Chordata. This isn't a bony fish. It's a spined. Wait, no. Bony fish are spined. And it is a bony fish because the class is Actinopterygii.
Mm-hmm.
And the order is Argentiniformes.
Looks like Argentina.
It looks
it's only fish that are in the exact shape of the country of Argentina.
Form of Argentina. Okay. The family is
Here we go.
Opistheproctiidae. No, Proctidae.
Yeah, Opistheproctidae. These are Barreleyes, the entire family.
Then the genus is Macropina. Macropina?
Mm-hmm. Macropina?
And then the species is Microstoma. Macropina microstoma.
So it's Mac and Mike.
Okay.
Mac and Mike.
So tell me what it's big something, small something. Are we going to find that out at some point?
All right. So since we're in the business of naming things, it would be time for my favorite part of the show, which is critter groups. But we're doing a fish again. And so I think you know what the answer is. And so I had to come up with a creative solution to the fact that you know what the term of venery is for fish. And so what we're going to do is a little side game that we'll do whenever we run into this problem called nitty-gritty nomenclature.
Okay.
So we're going to find out exactly what does Macropina microstoma mean. And I'll give you four guesses, but I'll give you four options. And you can choose from them. So, Macropina microstoma. Does it mean A, big fin, tiny barrel? B, large eyes, little spear? C, great thorn, small mouth? Or D, giant head, lesser lips? So basically, I mean, it's big and small. Macro and micro makes sense. So you're trying to determine what pinna and stoma mean. Is it fin and barrel, eyes and spear, thorn and mouth, or head and lips?
Head is What language is this? This is Latin, right?
This is Greek.
This is Greek. Dang it, I should have continued to study Greek. Stoma sounds like eyes to me, but that's not an option.
Correct.
What was the last one?
Giant head, lesser lips.
That rings true just by looking at it. Tell me the first one again.
Big fin, tiny barrel.
No. I'm going with D. Final answer.
Incorrect.
No!
The correct answer was great thorn, small mouth. Pinna is thorn, and stoma is mouth.
Oh, so I was right about mouth. Or you said lips for the last one.
Yeah. But which is odd because when I first looked at it, I was reminded of pinnipeds, which are like seals, and I don't see where thorns fit in with their just who they are as animals. But hey, that's what it means. So let us know what you think about nitty gritty nomenclature, because we have to have a response to the fact that we do revisit large animal groups often. And so things like snakes and snails and fish and turtles and frogs is a well that we return to. We're going to need a separate game for this.
I do like this. This is way better than critter groups to me, because I can like tap into the words that I've heard in the Latin and the Greek that I've experienced.
You can use some etymology.
Yeah.
Some latent etymology.
Yes. It's not just random. Okay. Are we ready for the description?
Yeah. I don't think anybody else is, though.
Okay, so it's important to approach survival in the open sea with a clear head.
Mm-hmm.
And this fish does that literally. This open-minded fish has a shiny dome that you can just go ahead and look right inside of. However, it's been really difficult for people to get a good look at this oceanic organism. The first time we even got a live pic of this was 2004. All the other sightings or pictures of it were of dead organisms.
That look much different when they're dead.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about later.
They do. This ghostly guppy has a classic fish shape with a rounded head and broad, almost bass-like fins. Its scaly body is dark brown, as best as I can tell, but its bulbous head is clear, with an array of internal colors coming through, particularly blues and greens. So it's a very alien-looking thing. It looks fake. It looks like it was built.
It looks like somebody taped a fish tank to the top of its head.
Yeah.
Like a small empty fish tank,
but
with some like environmental things in it.
The fins almost remind me more of a freshwater fish for some reason. It's like those broad, leaf-shaped fins, and those play an important role, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Right.
But until then, let's if you just look at a picture of this fish, it could be, the size of a school bus or microscopic. Who knows?
Probably not either.
It is not either. We'll find out specifically, though. Welcome to the Beloved Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send an audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week, so we get to hear from an animal, and Carlos has to guess what it is. It's the show inside the show inside the show. It's the game inside the game inside the show.
Yeah. Nothing I like more than when starting a game than playing another game.
Let's without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show. Ooh, she almost said it. Would you like to hear that again? Was it loud and clear?
Yeah, it was. I think I got a good idea.
Okay. Is that a common crow? B, a ring-billed gull? C, a chin-strap penguin? Or D, a beluga whale?
I'm going to go with common crow, final answer.
Common crow, final answer. That is incorrect.
Oh, I thought you were subverting expectations here.
No, that is a beluga whale.
That is a beluga. Can you play that again? I really want to hear that.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie, and I'm a beluga whale trainer here at Mystic.
She would have totally spoiled it. Wow, that sounds exactly like a crow flying overhead.
What if I had played that sound?
Yeah, I would have had even the crow. It sounds exactly like a crow though.
It does in the beginning. It definitely does. Okay.
Huh. Wow, got me.
Let's talk about length. They're about 10 centimeters or 4 inches. How many microstoma go into the length of Clear Lake in California?
The length.
Yeah, it's a cigar-shaped lake. So here's a hint. Clear Lake is in LA County, California. It was once much bigger, but volcanic eruptions are thought to have separated it from the Blue Lakes to the north.
I don't know. I guess I'll say it's I'll say 5 miles. Maybe it's small. No one would know it. If it's fine. Well, okay. I'll say 10 miles. That seems like a pretty big lake. It's not like massive like Okeechobee or the Great Lakes, but that's probably why I haven't heard of it. So 10 miles. I'm going to say 158,000.
158,000 fish, final answer?
Yes.
Well, call Mr. Marshall Mathers because this lake is 8 miles wide, but it's 19 miles long or 31 kilometers. So the correct answer is 300,960 fish.
I must have done something wrong because I would have been pretty close.
It's 19 miles long.
Oh, 19 miles.
Yeah, 8 miles wide.
8 miles wide. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why I got it wrong. 8 miles.
Let's talk diving depth. They're pretty deep diving fish. They go down 800 meters or 12,600 feet on the low end, or on the high end.
Do you mean 12? 800 meters isn't 12,000.
Did I say 12? I meant 2,600 feet.
Okay.
2,600. How many fathoms is that?
I think at one point in my life I had looked up what a fathom was. And I had promptly forgot it.
I've decided to start throwing in these
nautical terms.
No, these little things that kind of dangle right in front of you, like they're actually something you could maybe know.
Like a league.
I almost did league.
I don't know what that is either.
Don't look it
I'll
up.
say fathom
I'll use it again later.
I'm gonna say fathom is 200 feet, and so that would put it at 10 fathoms.
10 fathoms. Would you like a hint first? I feel like you deserve a hint.
Sure, but it's not going to change my answer.
A fathom is an Old English unit of measurement that was widely used in nautical measurement.
Yeah.
Okay, 10.
I'm still going to go with 10.
10 fathoms equals the diving depth of a...
Oh, wait. You said 2,600? Sorry. Not two. I was thinking 2,000. The answer that I'm going to say is 13.
13. That's the final answer. Okay.
Yes.
The correct answer was 433.3 fathoms.
Oh, fathoms are small.
A fathom is 6 feet.
Okay. Yes, fathoms are tiny boys.
A regular swimming pool is about a fathom on the deep end.
Got it. I will actually remember the swimming pool thing going forward. Okay, well. I thought it was like the amount of rope you could make as an ancient sailor.
It might be something like that. A length of rope. You ready to hear some fast facts before we get into the major fact?
I am. I think I am.
So this mystery fish has baffled researchers since it was first discovered in 1939. But again, live specimens weren't photographed until 2004. And early drawings failed to capture the fish's transparent nature. Plus, when the fish is brought up from its normal depths, the dome is destroyed, giving observers an inaccurate view of its true nature.
Kind of like the globfish, or the blobfish.
Yeah.
Like, we think it looks like this horrifying, like, slot monster, but it actually looks like a regular fish.
It does?
A blobfish looks like a regular fish when it's under the pressure that it's under at the bottom of the ocean, like in thousands of feet below the surface. But then when you bring it up to the surface, it just expands.
It looks like a
outward
cartoon
into this.
old man.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like a Muppet. So whenever you see a picture of a blobfish that looks hilariously disgusting and weird, you're looking at a dead blobfish that's expanded outward, but really it doesn't look like a totally normal fish, but it doesn't look that ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
In its natural habitat.
Interesting.
I want to do the blobfish one day, so let's we'll put a pin in that, a macropinna in that.
It's such an angry old man. Okay, let's continue. Sort of like great white sharks, the barreleye likes to hunt from below. However, unlike the great white, the barreleye remains motionless, peering upward, looking for silhouettes, darkening the light that's struggling to reach the 2,000-foot depths. This clear barreleye has been observed to prey on small fish and jellyfish. They're also known to thought to steal, food from siphonophores, which are a group of cnidarians. Siphonophores. But that's all I got. You got anything special? I feel like that's it.
All right. He doesn't have that clear dome for nothing. And in fact, it's time for the major fact, which I'm going to call Dome is Where the Eyes Are. So most fish have eyes on the sides of their heads. They also tend to be on the outside of their bodies, or at least have a part of the eye that is facing the outside of their bodies. But Mac and Mike doesn't care about ocular conventions. And I asked you to specifically avoid talking about the eyes in the description because things are going to get wild here. So Mac and Mike's classic transparent head that we mentioned has two prominent objects inside. They are largish, bright green orbs nestled in like sort of a short eye stalk. They kind of look like, if you've ever been to Magic Kingdom, in Tomorrowland, there's a giant like stone ball that's being supported by water pressure that you can push around. It kind of look like that. Or if you have not been to Magic Kingdom, imagine what a sci-fi planetary or galactic map would look like, or maybe an alien incubation pods.
That's definitely what they are. Tiny little Neos are in there.
Yes, just waiting to be unplugged from the Matrix. But here's the rub. They're located where the brain would normally be in a regular fish. And they're facing directly upward. So most barreleye fish have eyes that look like weird tubes facing upward, but they're still on the outside of the body. And since the head is almost completely transparent on Mac and Mike, it can look straight through its own head for prey above it. So its eyes are actually located completely sealed inside of this dome. And they're just locked upward. So it's not looking forward. It's looking straight up through the top of its head. And as you said, it remains relatively motionless, waiting for the shadow of prey to fall over it. But if the eyes are facing upward, then how does it know where it's going once it actually sees prey? Because if as soon as it starts swimming towards the prey, it's going to start looking in the crazy upwards direction. Well, the answer to that is that its eyes usually face upward, but they can also face forward. If you decide to look up a picture of this Pokemon, you're going to see that it has what looks like eyes on the front of its face. You know, where eyes are supposed to be. But those are just the soulless holes for the eyes to pop into.
Those are portholes so that the fish can lock into kill mode.
Yeah. I mean, as far as we know, I couldn't find a single video of it actually like switching, but it's saying that like these eye stalks can kind of rotate 75 degrees forward, like binoculars flipping downward, and lock into these eye these eye holes that are in the front of the fish. So at first when you look at this fish, it looks like a robot, because like, oh, it's got these two little eyes, it's got this little mouth, and then it has what looks like capacitors inside of its head, and then a big brain behind it. But really, those capacitors are its eyes, and those eyes flip forward into what you thought were the eyes, which are just these gaping holes. And so once it's locked into those holes, then it can see where it's going and chase its prey and eat it. Although it doesn't really have to chase its prey, because its prey is mostly like jellyfish. So scientists think that the green, because these are bright green eyes, this green filter helps filter out any sunlight that may reach them. Because remember, they're 2,600 feet below the surface. There's very little, if any, sunlight that reaches down there, so it's almost pitch black. They look up, and so they don't want any of the sunlight to reach them, so that any light that they do see is from bioluminescent cnidarians, jellyfish, and things of that nature that they want to eat. So, and when you look at pictures of these guys, it looks like Mac and Mike is bioluminescent himself. But that's just the underwater ROV, the little submersible that they have, the lights going through the transparent part of Mac and Mike's head. So it doesn't actually glow on its own.
Yeah, if you look at any pictures, they glow like the Dickens, and I was like, I'm not reading anything about their own bioluminescence, so I'm thinking that's just reflection.
True, yeah, and the Dickens do glow quite a bit. So, but it's not. They don't actually. They don't have bioluminescence, but their prey does. So, they're always on the lookout for that. I could not find what the fluid inside of their transparent head is made of, and I also couldn't find what the shell of this transparent head is made of. It's not made of scales, because this film attaches from the scales on their back to the scales underneath their chin, or above their mouth. So it's this organic, durable yet flexible and completely transparent film with this fluid inside, and that's all I guess we know about it. Because whenever there was only one that they were able to bring up to the surface alive, and it only lived for a few hours, and they were mostly just observing its ability to switch its eyes from facing straight up through the top of its head to facing forward. Which forward-facing eyes is also pretty unique for a fish, because usually fish have eyes on either side of their head, but these lock into like predator mode. We don't know if they have telescopic vision like we do. So what we're learning more about this unusual battery fish. It looks like it's got batteries in it.
Yeah, this is like a prime example of adaptation gone awry. You know, it's like everything else is like, we're fish. We got kind of the same thing going on. And they're just like, eyes inside a glass dome. Why?
It's like, I only look up, so why have anything else?
Instead of just turning my body to look up, I'm going to do this elaborate thing.
But then it can kind of swim laterally while always looking up.
What I want to know is how do they hunt by looking for silhouettes if they don't see light?
Well, so like I said, that was this is a theory scientists have put forth, that the green in their eyes makes it so that they don't see sunlight. They're not looking for silhouettes. They're looking for bioluminescent light from their prey.
Oh, I see.
But the other prevailing theory is that they look for silhouettes against the sunlight. The thing is, there isn't a lot of sunlight that makes it down there.
Right.
So the silhouette thing is not that great. But they do think that their eyes are incredibly sensitive, so they might see a lot more sunlight than than obviously we would.
It's just one of those fish that are like really difficult, or animals in general that are really difficult to study. So everything we know about them is generally
it's from one video
educated
that somebody
guesses.
took.
No, I mean by we, I mean humanity.
Well, right, but the thing is, there's like only a couple scientists that are observing this animal because it costs so much money and time and effort to go down to the bottom of the ocean in the most unreachable places that people can't even go, and get a robotic submersible to go down there and find a 4-inch fish in the ocean in the depths. So it's just really, really, really hard to find one altogether, and then to observe it, and then let alone like bring a live specimen all the way up to the surface without exploding it with a lack of pressure. So it's just like, yeah, I would not, if I were going to choose to study an animal, it would probably not be this one, despite how cool it is. I think it looks awesome.
I was listening to a podcast about a researcher that was studying flies, and they think like common fruit flies actually came from Africa, a southern country in Africa. And
it's good because I have one in my room right now.
So they went on like a safari in like the savannah looking for flies. And it's funny to be in a place with like a lot of well-studied, interesting animals.
Also a place with a lot of flies.
True.
And then you're trying to find one particular fly.
Well, it's the most common fly. It's the fruit fly.
Yeah, but you're like, is that a fruit fly? Nope, it's a gnat. Oh, nope, that's another gnat.
Also, did you know that
no, that's a tsetse fly.
Fruit flies don't eat fruit?
They show up whenever I throw a banana peel into my garbage here in my office.
Because they just love those little microbes that grow on fruit.
Oh, as fruit decomposes?
I guess so, yeah.
Interesting. I remember doing some experiment with fruit flies in elementary school or something, and I didn't care enough to remember.
Alrighty.
So yeah, that was Macropinna microstoma, the Mac and Mike, the Espionogin. So for you out there in Podcastia, take a moment to sit still, level out, and keep looking up like the Barreleye fish here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey LDT listeners, thanks for listening to the end of the episode. For your loyalty, you get a shameless self-promotion from us. If you haven't already, leaving a review on your favorite podcast app can really help us grow. But telling your podcast-loving friends about us is even better. Also, don't forget to send in your Measure Up intros and animal suggestions to ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. As always, thanks, most of all, for listening.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
A bit of a hopeful message there.